Hello, I'm Valerie McLennan. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. This is my spiritual channel and I incorporate ways of life, share funny stories, burst into song, sometimes all at the same time. You don't know what you're getting. If you've been following me a while, thank you very much. And as I keep repeating, please tell your friends, your colleagues, passing strangers, your enemies, whomever. Direct them to my channel if you think they could find it amusing, full of wisdom, etc. Now, I know I have many new listeners. Isn't that good? Thank you very much. Some of you must be maybe pointing people to my direction. I don't know. Or have they just found me? I don't know, but I appreciate them. I appreciate you, wherever you've come from. Thank you. And may I ask you to revert back and listen to previous podcasts just so that you get a flavour of my humour and, as I said, my wit, even my singing voice. I know, hard to believe. Thanking you. Now, as you've noticed over the last week or two, I started telling jokes. I don't know why. I only intended to tell one. Now, I'm only going to tell one this evening. And the reason being the topic that I'm going to swiftly move towards is regarding people that are facing loss. So as you can imagine, it wouldn't be wonderful for me to, tell several jokes even, or even more than one, even to tell more than one, and then to revert back into such a serious topic. So I'm going to give you one little joke and then slide casually, you will barely notice, into my spiritual lesson, because there are many people at this moment in life, sadly, that I know who are facing loss. So I feel it's very, very important. Some of you, if you've been following me a while, may find it repetitive because I have touched on this topic many times. What you often find in life is when it hits you and when it arrives at your door, you suddenly are listening through different ears and concentrating through different eyes, etc., etc. Now the joke, many of you have heard it probably before, but I might ad-lib and make it my own, as I tend to do. There's a woman driving down the road. She's driving quite fast. She does. She's driving very, very fast. And the police suddenly notice this car just the way it's moving. The speed and the it's kind of swerving, shall we say. So they follow it for a while and then they speed up to try and catch her. Because they decide, I think we need to breathalyse this woman. We do. So they chase her for a while, and then eventually the woman thinks, oh, is that me? Oh, here, I thought they were just in a hurry. I'm ad-libbing now, this wasn't in my joke. So the woman starts to slow down when she realises they're chasing her. So they pull her over, and they say, we're going to have to breathalyse you in a moment. And she says, I beg your pardon, never drank alcohol in my entire life. They said, well, we will soon find out, won't we? I don't know if they said that, I'm ad-libbing again. So anyway, they said, get out the car. Step out the car, Sterling. Now, some of you, that may mean something. Others, it's gone right over your head, depending on what age you are. I wish it had gone over mine. Anyway, so get out of the car. So she steps out of the car. I don't know if she wasn't Sterling. Anyway, you're getting ridiculous now. I know. She steps out the car. And they said, I don't know if the police even do this now. Do you know the little line they used to have on the road, and they say, could you walk along that path? Seemingly, not to me, but I heard it, watched it on programmes. So they said, there's a little line there, could you walk a straight line? So she said, I most certainly can, I've never drank alcohol in my life. So she starts to walk along that little white line, and she's kind of veering off it, shall we say. So the police are kind of looking at each other going, so when she comes back, they said to her, well, we're going to have to do the breathalyzer, but it's a bit kind of a waste of time, actually, because we can tell you've been drinking the state. You can hardly stand to that line. In fact, this big officer said, in fact, you're staggering. And the woman looked straight at the policeman and said, well, officer, it's good of you to say, and you're actually quite handsome yourself. She thought he meant your beauty is staggering. Get it? Your beauty is staggering. But that wasn't what he meant. He just meant you're staggering. She heard what she wanted to hear, like we do. And she said, you're quite handsome yourself, officer. I thought it was quite funny. Not hilarious, but I just thought it was quite funny. Now, how do I move from here to there, from there to here? Swiftly. Now, as I've mentioned over the past few weeks and months, especially the last few days and weeks, Unfortunately, I know many people who are going through loss at this time, family members. And if you've been following me, I've been doing this now for about 3 years, so many of you must have heard over the years, I keep reverting back to loss and how to deal with it, especially regarding the spiritual aspect. This has been the anchor I've used in my life since I was very, very young, and it needs a lot of determination and a lot of stubbornness. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second that I've not tripped, fallen, staggered off my own path. Never mind that, woman. We're all a work in progress, but what you have to try and do on earth is to make this journey as easy as you possibly can for yourself. Whatever gets you through this as unscathed as possible. Now, to me, the spiritual path, my creator, whatever I believe, all of the above, has been an anchor that's carried me through many, many losses in my own life. As I said very briefly, I've lost brothers, I've lost both parents, I've lost a sister, and even more recently, I lost my beautiful dog that I'd had for nearly 13 years. Now, all of those losses even one of the above, have the potential of crippling you emotionally for the rest of your days on earth. And I'm very well aware of that fact, especially with other situations that maybe, we all face different situations in life. And, sometimes human beings let us down, those closest to us let us down, all of the above. We can only decide for ourselves, are we going to be strong enough to keep moving forward and use the tools that I keep mentioning on this channel? Now, some people, as I said, over the years thought spirituality was kind of fluffy and all of that. It takes an awful lot of stubbornness, determination to keep yourself on this path, because like everyone else, we're facing challenges. I don't get off lightly because I'm on this path, trust me. It's how we deal with it and how we get our mind under our own control when others and everything else is going erratic. When you are in this kind of situation, imagine just very briefly, if you're facing a loss of any kind, whether it's family, financial, whatever, health, whatever it is, we're all surrounded by other human beings who are also dealing with all of their own stuff. So emotionally, we're not all on the same page. We're not spiritually all on the same page, and we're all over. So people are dealing with it all in their own ways. So if you're looking for people at that time to be your strength, it's not going to happen a lot of the time, because people are just trying to get themselves through different situations. I can't stress this enough. Please don't depend on other human beings for being your strength. As I said, for whatever reason and wherever they are in their life, they're dealing with all of their own emotions, all of their own stuff. They might not be there to support you. There's a good chance they don't turn up. There's a good chance they might not have your back because they're all focusing on themselves. You have got to be your own strength. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way. The day that you realise that you can face the world emotionally on your own, other people are a bonus. Now, that's a good place to be, and it takes an awful lot of work and effort. It doesn't fall into your lap. I have had to work on this over the years, as I said, depending on the challenges and the amount and the veracity where it's coming from. If it's coming at you from great speed, if it's multiplied by many different individuals, you're not just fighting emotionally one situation, you're fighting a barrage of emotions. Those are the days when you think, I'm either going to sink or swim. Now, my motto in life is laugh in spite of it all. The more difficult those challenges got for me, the more determined I was that I was going to come out of this stronger, and I would know my inner strength, and as I said, other people are a bonus. I don't look in other people for my strength. Now, that in itself is a freedom you will never, ever be able to buy in a shop. Ever. No matter your wealth, you will never be able to buy that in a shop with any money. This is the whole point of spirituality. There's nothing fluffy about it, but it takes work and effort. And this is where people fall down. I have to make an effort to do this. Depending what age you are and what stage you are in your life, where we're facing all of the challenges emotionally anyway, some people think, and the thought of trying to control my mind, and some people have said to me, even if they're 30, 40, 50, 60 and above, I'm at this age, I'm the person I am. No, you're the person you tell yourself in the mirror that you are. When you look in the mirror, reflected back as a person that you're telling yourself that you are on a daily basis, all of the rubbish, all of the negativity, all of the stuff that you've gathered through challenges, hurts, emotional this, emotional that, since you were younger to where you are today, some of it you believed, some of it you've taken on board, some of the words you've taken and accepted as your reality from other people. Then you look in the mirror, the thoughts are in your mind, you look in the mirror and what's reflected back? All of that stuff that's in your mind. There's no truth. If I looked at you, I would see a completely different person to where you look in the mirror and you see yourself. You know what I mean? So you're seeing in the mirror who you're telling yourself you are. So in the situations when you're facing loss and challenges, can you imagine if your mind is already negative and if you're already on the back foot and you're already depending on other human beings for your strength, can you imagine what happens if that's the person that you've just lost? I'm not saying this to be depressing. I'm a realist. You are putting all your strength, taking all your strength from another human being, and that's the person you've just lost. What then? What do you do then? Now, this is what I'm trying to say. I've worked in this for years and years and years and years. Many times with the kind of situations I have to face and the people I've had to deal with in my life, I've been veered off. But with determination and stubbornness, I drag myself back every time. I drag myself back onto this path because I know that what you often find on this path as well is that people might try and push you off, because why would someone else, if they're not on this path, why would they want you on it? You know, because some people can think that you're trying to make out you're better than they are, when all you're trying to do is teach what you've learned for other people to help them to grow. The minute you stop worrying about what other people think is a freedom. If you go through your life, what they think? What if this? Can I please stress we're on earth for 5 minutes practically? Even if you're here till you're 100, 120, it's tiny, it's minute. If you're spending your life on ridiculous things, what if this person says, what if that person thinks, what if this? It's all absolute rubbish. And the day you take it on board and stop even letting that register in your mind, you'll find yourself, you've got a strength within that will carry you through anything. Now, point I'm trying to make, I know several people just now who are losing, who have just lost people. Some of them might be parents, which I find is a really challenging one. No matter what age you are, to lose a parent is emotional. It has a potential to be emotionally crippling. Yes, children are horrendous if you lose children, siblings, all of the above. Parents, it seems to have a kind of, the pain can be palpable because they've obviously been there all of your life. The ones that were caring for you when you were younger, etc. Especially depending where you are in your life, if it happens suddenly, if that person again was a strength. Do you see where I'm going back to there again? If that person that's just gone was a strength in your life. Now, all I'm trying to say is, if you focus on being your own strength, other parts of your life will be a bonus. Now, I've mentioned this previously on podcasts regarding it. I can only ever speak about my own point of view and my own beliefs. If you disagree, that's fine. I won't lose my mind over it. I'm only sharing my own thoughts, my own beliefs for you to listen. If you decide at the end of the day, no, that's the opposite to what I believe, that's absolutely fine. All I'm doing is giving you something to think about. And I have mentioned previously on podcasts what I call the hand of protection that comes over your mind at a funeral. How many times have I said, I personally, for one, would not have faced all the funerals I've had to face. Standing at a graveside, standing at a cremation, going through all the thing, then going and chatting away normally, have a cup of tea, chatting away normally, and then getting on with your life. Then you're supposed to go back to work. Do you know what I mean? Now, all of those situations that we all face, each and every one of us, is emotionally overwhelming, crippling, whatever you want to say. And then you're supposed to turn around and go back to work, as I said, or go back home and just act normally. It is critical that you get a hold of your mind at this point. Now, my belief is very simple, that we're all on earth. Each and every one of us are on earth, and it's how we react to things that are the challenge. It's our reaction. You and I and everyone else will face loss in our life. Family, parents, whatever. It's how we react. If you're just looking at the way I just do it, I'll try and go with me in this and just think, right, okay, well, listen, I'll go with it. I believe we're all here, and it's those challenging times that are our biggest tests. How many times have you heard people in life saying, I've grown, in hindsight, not at the beginning. In hindsight, I've grown more spiritually from each horrendous challenge I faced than anything else. It can go the other way as well. This is the importance of getting a hold of your mind and trying to get yourself on any path to believe something. Now, I personally believe we're on earth for a reason, and it is personal development, spiritual development and growth. So from each challenge that comes along, is it going to make us stronger, or are we going to end up weaker? So at the end of the day, you've lost the person, you've gone through the funeral, and you're wallowing, you're worrying, you're looking backwards all the time, you're going back into the negative, you're going back into here. So you've still lost the person's gone, and you are, putting yourself through this emotional turmoil over and over and over again. So you've lost the person, and in addition, you're dragging yourself down emotionally. So there's a no-win there. No win. You've lost the person, and you've not grown at all. But I would suggest, when I call it the hand of protection, the minute you find out that somebody's passed, you often hear people saying, I went into shock, whatever words they use. I was in shock, I was numb, I didn't register anything. You always often hear this. After the funeral, they'll say a few weeks later, oh, it's becoming real now. It's just becoming real now. Now, my point being, it doesn't matter the way you verbalise it. Shock, this, that, the other, didn't register, whatever. I call all of that the hand of protection from the Creator above. There's a hand of protection that's put in your mind so that you don't register, you're not fully aware, but it's protecting you to go through what you've got to go through. That hand of protection will carry you from getting told of the person's death. It'll be there when you're sitting talking about it and you'll be thinking, I'm having an out-of-body experience, this isn't fully registering. To me, that's the whole point. You've been protected. You'll go to the funeral, you'll be protected again. You'll be feeling you're having an out-of-body. It's not really registering. What am I doing? I'm at a funeral. I'm doing this. I'm reading that. I'm doing a reading. I'm doing a thing. I'm singing. I'm doing all. Is this real? What's happened? Is this not registering? That's the hand of protection. The spiritual hand of protection. In my belief, is covering your mind from fully registering the depth of the horror that you're facing at that minute. It'll be there with you for a few days, a few weeks after, as long as necessary to get you through the funeral, get you through the whole thing. We all do it. We all feel as if we're having an out-of-body. We all feel as if we're not registering. Hand of protection is there to help you. And the good thing is, whether you believe or you don't, the hand of protection is with you anyway. So just accept it. You call it shock, you call it numbness, you call it disbelief. I call it the hand of protection. Now, if you just think to yourself, I'm walking through here, and whatever Creator, whatever earth I'm on, there is something in my mind protecting me to get me through. A few weeks later, it's kind of lifted. The way I put it, the hand of protection is lifted slightly. That can't go through your entire life with you, because when we're on life, we're supposed to grow, and we've got freedom of choice. And if you were allowed to go through life numb, you wouldn't really grow. It'd be easier because we wouldn't feel a lot of the stuff, but you wouldn't grow. So that hand of protection eventually kind of lifts, where you then go, oh, it feels real now. Now, at that point, you are in control of yourself. You have got to think, no, wait a minute. I've been steered and I've been guided. I'm not going to slide backwards now. This is a test. It's not really a test, but you know what I mean? This is the point where I decide, now that this is real feeling, am I going to dwell in the past? Am I going to start reliving and playing all those old songs in my mind till I drive myself completely insane? Or am I going to say, right, that was horrendous, the past is gone, I've enjoyed the experience, the love of the person, etc., etc. Close that emotional door. You don't do yourself any good keeping looking backwards, and move on. Now, the person that's gone wouldn't want you keeping looking backwards either. Just keep moving forward. Remember, you're on earth for a reason. It's how your reaction. So when the hand of protection is kind of lifted a few weeks, days, months, whatever it is later, just you think to yourself, show gratitude at that point that was with you when you needed it the most. Otherwise, you can just say, I was in shock. It depends what words you want to use. I know what I believe, and there's no shock that would carry me through all of that. Trust me. There's a hand of protection that stops your mind registering the dire situation that you're facing. Accept it as a positive. And then instead of just ignoring it, take it as part of your life would be my suggestion. and move forward with an inner strength and an inner belief in yourself that you have faced this, and you are going to show the world how in a year's time from now you can look back and say, look how much I've grown as a person. From that minute to that death, I was told of that death, stood at that funeral, came out the other side. 6 months later, a year later, I can see a huge difference in my character, in my inner belief, in my faith in myself, and I know that I have got what it takes to get me through this life. I will never face anything as horrendous again, and if I do have to face something like that again, the hand of protection will be there in your mind. So you'll have the same each time you have to face anything. But what happens is once it's lifted, you've got to tell yourself that you are now in control of your life. Please don't waste it, and then focus on yourself and think, I will prove now how far I've come emotionally. Every challenge I face, whether it's a death, a loss, financial, business, partnership, whatever, I will be able to look back after a few months if I use the tools of spirituality, and I will be able to see the strength of my character, that nobody will emotionally have the strength, to put you down. You don't have to depend on another human being for your strength, because it will be within yourself. I'll give you more tools moving forward, but please take that on board. It has saved me my entire life. I've been at more funerals than I would like to think in my own family, and I've used it each and every time. Look after each other. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.